go ahead and start with the roll call, please.
Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Michelson,
Oh, God, it's hard to respond to your director. Yeah.
Director Mueller,
Here.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Yeah.
You're young enough for a repeat.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
All right. Do we have any public comments this time? Don't see any hands raised on Zoom, and we don't have any blue slips for public comment. All right, let's move on to the consent calendar. And do we have any
I reviewed,
directors who would like to, okay, you reviewed
yeah,
the-
I reviewed the payables and the credit card statement and had a cash statement. But actually, it was one of the most professional presentations I've seen. I mean, it was down to the nickel, and a lot of money was spent, must have been Christmas. But everything looked in order, and so I would urge that we approve that portion of the.
All right. Does anybody have anything they want to pull from the consent calendar or comment on the consent? Hearing none, we need a motion on the consent.
I'll make a motion to pass it as a whole.
Right,
Second.
okay, motion and second. Roll call, please.
Director Coverdale,
According to recommendations, aye.
Director Michelson,
Aye.
Director Mueller,
Aye. Thank
Vice
you.
President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
I'll go for aye.
Good job.
All right.
Robert's Rules of Order.
Do we have any board members who would like to talk about meetings attended or comments? Ken?
I did my snow assessment work in the month of December and early January. It's ugly. We shouldn't be dancing, we shouldn't be singing, we shouldn't be celebrating, and it looks like another 2 weeks at least of dry weather. And there's snow, but it's nothing like we want to be celebrating. So I think it's important, again, probably to encourage our water conservation officer to make an early start and encourage our customers, which I don't think want to encourage right now because we'd like to create some income from water sales, but I don't think it looks great. And I read the Hetchy reports, 77% is not exactly, wild. What do we have in our district? 7.7 inches.
Yeah.
So far this season, it's not amazing. So it's just worth paying attention to. And I would tell you that, you can only ride groom slopes so many days.
There you go.
Either travel or come home.
My family's going to Park City and they have a house up there. But the trouble is they were on strike too.
Isn't that great? Yeah, they bumped them up $23 an hour minimum wage as a ski patrol and a lifting at Park City. Yeah, they bumped them $5 an hour. They said,
Yeah, even that's a tough to survive on.
oh, it's $23 an hour.
All right. We start in on the general business.
I am going to turn this over to Jeff.
Thank you, Mary. We have completed our audit with the help of CJ Brown, and in a moment, I want to introduce our audit partner. But before we do, we're recommending that the board accept the Coastside County Water District basic financial statements and independent auditor's report for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2024. And have to recognize the efforts of several folks whose work have resulted in a clean audit. And first and foremost, Nancy Trujillo, who's on the call. The majority of the materials that we provide to our audit partner are generated by Nancy. she's a focal point for this process for us. Gina Brazil also provides materials for this process. Mary Rogan does as well, along with guiding us through the process. So the efforts of those folks really should be recognized because, again, we have a clean audit. I'll turn it over to Jonathan Abbadesco, who has a brief presentation. Jonathan is with CJ Brown. And Jonathan, thank you as well for Jeff Palmer's work. We appreciate his help during the process. So Jonathan, take it away.
So, do you mind sharing your screen, or do you want me to share my screen?
You can share yours if you'd like.
Either or, so whatever's more easier. So, if you can share your screen, that would be awesome.
Give me a minute here. Yeah, he's gonna have to. 'Cause
Probably. Let me try to do it. Hold on.
he's already
You can
able,
share.
yes.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, good question.
That's worth asking.
I wouldn't be more silly.
Okay.
So can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yes,
Let me
yes.
make it bigger. Yep, here.
There you go.
Okay, so again, good evening to everybody. I'm happy to present the district's financial statements for 2024. So our audit process is governed by auditing standards issued by AICPA. And when we audit any local grants being received by the district or any federal and state grants, we follow the federal and state requirements. Accounting principles, we follow the standards issued by Governmental Accounting Standards Board. So our audit process is based on a risk-based approach where we assess the district's controls and whatever changes every year, we document those and understand if there's some risk involved. And also we do test your controls from receipts up to the time the district collects the money and from the time that you bill customers, disbursements from the time that checks is issued to the vendors, from invoice processing. Also, we do test your payroll and bank statements. Also, once we figure out or understand your controls, we go to the final phase of our field work where we obtain the district's trial balance. We audit all of your accounts from assets down the line to revenue. Also, as part of our process, we make sure to have a chat with your board as part of our mandated having a professional skepticism mindset. And we also talk to your management team as well. Okay. So here you can see that on page 5 of your statements, your overall net position, it went up by $2.7 million. So here's your revenue statement or changes in net position. So both your revenues and expenses it went up by almost similar fashion. It's $1.7 million. So your overall revenue, it increased due to increases in your water sales, coupled by increases in your non-operating revenues, property taxes, connections, and your investment income increase. Your expense, it increased because of your overall operating expenses increasing by $1.6 million, which can be attributed to the increase in your CalPERS pension expense. Because last year there was a credit, this year there was an expense that needed to be recognized per accounting standards. Okay. So, but overall, as what Jeff mentioned, the district had a good year. So, a culmination of all our processes and assessment of your controls, we noted or issued a clean opinion where your financial statements is in fact in accordance with US accepted accounting standards in the US. Okay. Also in your board packet, you could see that there's a management report that was issued. So when we documented your controls, we did not find any material weakness or any significant deficiencies when we audited your controls. Okay. So overall, there's proper checks and balances within the district's controls. So here's what I mentioned a while ago. So the district received an unmodified or clean opinion. Your overall net position, it increased by $2.7 million. Your overall revenue and expense, it increased by $1.7 million, which can be attributed to the following factors listed in the screen. So any questions so far from the board and any public members?
Yeah. Would you be able to go through, for instance, what's an example of a current asset is and the difference and then the definition of what a capital asset is? Just so we have an understanding of what some of these titles are that the sheet, this is on page 5.
Okay. So the current assets, it consisted of those assets that will mature in the next year, which includes your cash, your receivable, inventory, prepaid expenses. Non-current assets, it consisted of your long-term receivable that is not expected to mature in the next year or so. Capital assets, it consisted of all your capital assets, less any depreciation accumulated over the years.
So is pipe in the ground a capital asset?
Yes, pipes in the ground are capital assets. Your mains, transmission and distribution, any equipment, vehicles of the district, those are capital assets.
It just seems low because if it costs $10 million to build a water tank and we have 10 of them, then why do we only have 68 million in capital assets when our water tanks alone exceed that number? And we have treatment plants, we have pipe in the ground.
Let me show you another screen. Let me show you.
It's the actual cost at the time.
Yeah.
historical.
If it's
Yeah.
30 years old, it's a 30-year-old.
It's not,
price.
it's like
So
a
it's
car,
halfway
it's like a
through
car.
if It's 30 years old.
Yeah, no, the
Like
the
your car's
replacement value
appreciation.
would be astronomical.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Sure.
That's a great question, but let me pull up my screen to show you
Like us.
the components of capital asset.
asset.
Hold on, let me see.
So how long do you like pipe in the ground is good for 60 years, right? Do we amortize it over 60 years?
It 40 to 60.
40.
Okay.
Yeah.
And our new water tank?
About a week and a half.
So on your screen, you could see, is it too small or should I make it bigger?
Bigger.
Hold on,
We're
let me-
old. I'm old.
It's page.
And you're the
What page
youngest.
is it?
Page 28 in your
Page
book.
28, thank you.
Okay, so here's your screen. So you could see that, so can you see the screen right now?
Yeah, the screen looks good, thank you.
Yeah, so 68 million is your total capital assets. So that's a great question because your total assets cost, it consisted of land and construction in process or your ongoing construction of $16 million. And the remaining 97 million consisted of your depreciable or capital assets. So you're asking about your pipes. It's included in your transmission and distribution. It's roughly $22 million.
Yeah.
He's talking about,
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
and your pump station is about $26.5 million.
what
So
are the
rough-
tanks?
yeah,
Well field and tanks, 4.5 mil.
yeah, pipelines and meters. So pipelines and meters consisted of $24 million. So
Well,
roughly,
The engineer thought the tanks were junk too.
Well,
Mhm.
like the tanks built in the 50s, they
Yeah.
were under 50,000.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And they've been depreciated for like 3.5 million.
But
Okay.
we've always touted that we had, over nearly 100 million in capital investment. That's what it is. It's investment over time.
But
It's not worth as much anymore, but in that,
well,
and if you,
replacement value though,
Is
I
that even higher?
I consider
That's
it's more
the-
like 400.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, if we were to start, if we were to
we're
start from
talking
scratch.
replacement now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that a valuable number as to what, because the system works, right? You can turn on a tap at any home in this town and the water system runs and the water comes out. And that's not because we have a $65 million water system.
Yeah.
It's probably because we have a $650 million water system that's working and working fine. So is it really fair to say that it's only worth
Yeah, because
$65
that's what
million?
the audit is about. It has to give the real value of things, not the perceived value. I mean, obviously it costs more to rebuild it, but they have to deal with the facts, and the facts are, we have this much in terms
Cost
of
that time and
valuation.
construction.
That's what an audit is. You can't lie about what you're.
No, I'm not saying we're
No,
lying.
no, but you can't make it more than it is. You can talk about what would be to replace it. That's a different discussion, but that's
Yeah.
not part of the audit.
Okay,
Not
no,
that
I'm
true, I
just
don't
curious,
The accounting standards.
The
Yeah.
accounting standard is what it
but
is.
mostly based on taxes.
No,
No.
no, this is the government accounting standards.
That's
Right,
Yeah.
this is what the-
It's not we're not doing this for tax.
Right,
But if you're amortizing it, there's, well, I'm off topic. I'm deep in the weeds.
We can talk about it.
All right, sorry to interrupt and drag
He's more
us.
experienced at accounting than probably any of the 10 consultants that we've ever.
it's a good report.
All right.
In spite of the numbers.
Yeah, so let's, does anybody else have any?
I got a really important
Yeah,
question.
please.
Jonathan, I just wanted to know if anybody briefed you on the fact that this water district has done such an amazing job of accounting for so many years.
Yes,
Main reason that we switched auditors this year is we can't get any auditor to tell us we're doing a great job. They'll all say there's no material deficiencies, and they'll all say that they couldn't find any managerial recommendations. But we can't find anyone that'll just simply admit that the district is run very tightly and very well and very cautiously. And it's identifiable how well we do according to government standards. We can't find anybody like that, Jonathan. Do you know anyone?
No,
I don't know, but based from our history of auditing your district,
He's not.
I always speak with my team, and Jeff Palmer speaks highly of Mary. And also with Jeff, they're both great, to work with, and as I mentioned a while ago, there's proper checks and balances within the district, which is great.
So great, can we key on that? Great, the district is great in terms of checks and balances.
Donna, what should we do to look forward to doing better? What areas should we improve on?
Not like there are any. Like we're.
I can't think of any right now. It's
That's my
hard,
husband.
it's hard to look because during the start of our audit, we indeed perform a test of your controls, and none of those transactions that we tested have problems or issues whatsoever.
all I
So,
can say is I'm pleased as punch
Yeah.
that we look so good in terms of the findings of the auditor, and we continue to do so year after year. And for me, that's a credit to our financial folks and our management team to keep us honest, which is really the bottom line of an audit, to make sure you're walking a straight path. And we do that, and we do that well. I think it's great. I mean, I can think it's great. Is that okay? It's we're doing very good.
Yeah, but I just wanted to write it.
All right, I'll call out Nancy and Jeffrey and say thank you to Nancy and thank you to Jeffrey and under Mary's strict tutelage that you better show up with a grade at the table.
Yes.
Thank you for your work doing this and getting us a clean audit and making sure that we are running on the straight and narrow. So thank you very much. Appreciate that effort.
Yeah, I echo that sentiment. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think just a brief comment, Mr. Chair, that the public should know that staff and board work very hard to run a really positive business for the future. It's not like we could sell part of it to some corporation. This is our community right here, and it stays in the community, thank goodness. And it proves it by our audit too, that shows, and thanks all the staff for the good work they've done for the corporation when it comes to auditing. So I just wanted to make that comment because I lived through the lawsuit of the city of Half Moon Bay, which Mr. Keenan, it's not like you could sell streets and we can't sell water lines. We got to keep them. It's us. And that's all from my background.
I would entertain a motion to accept the Coastside Water District financial statement.
It's short enough, I'll read it. So I recommend we accept the Coastside County Water District basic financial statements and independent auditor's report for fiscal year ended June 30, 2024.
I'll second that.
Okay, first and second.
Okay.
Roll call, please.
Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Michelson,
Aye.
Director Mueller,
Aye.
Vice President Coleman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Aye. Jonathan, thank you.
Such a
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for having me tonight. And again, this audit won't be possible without the great work of your team and the proficiency that we always experience with your team. So thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Right. Mary, you doing the next one?
Yes, we actually have three related to Highway 92. So, one of the oldest pipelines in our district.
The director's Bob.
So one of the oldest pipelines in our district is the 12-inch welded steel pipeline that spans 14,000 linear feet along Highway 92. And this was the original raw water pipeline that supplied water from Palisades Reservoir to Half Moon Bay. When we implemented the Crystal Springs project and then that pipeline, we turned that welded steel pipeline around, and it became a potable water pipeline for the Highway 92 customers. So we, over the years, and I'll say 10, but it's probably 20 years, we've been looking at how can we replace or rehab that pipeline. It's on, a lot of it's on Highway 92 or close to it, and also it's right next to a gas pipeline. And so it's just very, very difficult to deal with when we've had issues. We are, the troublesome section of the pipe is really between the Pastorinos and east of the Cosmolinos. So what this project is doing is that we're going to replace a third of the pipeline, really and the most troublesome part of the pipeline. We had with the 2023 storms, we lost part of the pipeline and we had a emergency 2-inch HDPE pipe above ground bypass put in with losing the pipe, and so we have reduced flows, fire flows, and so we are, with this new pipeline, it's going to really improve our situation on that stretch. So EKI designed the replacement pipe, and it's going to go. We're going to go under 3 creek crossings, Los Trancos, which was the pipeline was exposed a few years ago in storms, and then 2 Palisades Creek crossings. We'll be putting in 10 and 6-inch ductile iron pipeline via open trench, and they're all within the easements on private property. So we've moved away from the highway, which is really fantastic, and moved away from the gas pipeline, which Darren doesn't want to go near with his crew. We actually have, I guess, John Sutter has joined us too, because he spent the last couple of years working diligently on this design and working through all of our issues. So anyway, we went out to bid and in December, and we had 7 bids ranging from 1.8 million to 3.1 million. The winning bid is with Golden State Construction and Utility. John Sutter and his team have reviewed the bid, and everything appears to be in order. Also contacted references as well. So we are recommending that we award the bid to Golden State Construction in $1,844,000.
Is there a time clause on this that there's a penalty if it runs long?
There are liquidated damages.
Yeah.
There are? Okay.
I don't remember the exact numbers off the top.
No, but it's okay. Hello, Jonathan.
Hello. Yeah, the liquidated damages are, I believe it's $500 a day, and then the construction duration is 150 working days. So
Okay.
that works out to, I think we're expecting it to be done in the October timeframe, is my recollection.
Okay, sounds good. Ken, you have a question?
Yeah, I don't know, it's all right, so I'll have to look at my attorney, but we're talking about item B. And my question is, item C seems to be the inspection services for the project. And my question is, if we had gone with with the highest bid, 3.3 or something like that, would the construction inspection services be higher or the same? What would your guess be about that?
I
Am I
think
allowed to ask that?
Sure, they're both on the agenda.
it, my take would be that what you would award would be the same, because really you're paying for their time, the inspector's time to be out there during construction. And it may turn out that the full-time inspection isn't necessary. And that's something that the district has been very successful with, working with this particular inspector. If there is not a need for them to be out on site full-time, then they're able to accommodate that. The inspector is able to accommodate that and only work when it's necessary for them to be out there. And I believe that history would show that they have not billed up to their contract amount.
Yeah, so I was really pleased to see that even if you took the amount of money for the inspection and added it to the low estimate, and it's a very qualified contractor, in my opinion, it was still well below the estimate of the engineer. So I just thought that was, really good news. And I just wanted to point that out. I didn't really know how it would be affected if we had to go for a higher estimate. But still, the savings is significant compared to what we were estimating. So I think that's wonderful, because we did have some expenses getting to this point. So, and is it fully permitted? It's ready to go?
Yes.
Yeah, so soonest construction might be
We're looking.
We're shooting for March.
March. Great, like Ides of March when it's horrific, is that basically?
Yeah, we do have some limitations on timing of when we can work,
Yeah,
from an environmental perspective and also from the owner's perspective. So but we need, well, basically from the owner's perspective, we need to get this done before the 1st of September, basically, because
great.
of pumpkins.
Yeah.
From an environmental perspective, we need to be working, we need to get these crossings done, in the summer, so.
And is it a typical April to October window for environmental construction? I mean, the environmental review or no?
I have to look, I don't
Not,
remember.
not exactly.
June
No.
15th, isn't it June 15th, October 1st?
Correct.
Oh.
That's for the HCD work,
Right.
limited to that time frame.
So it's later and shorter.
Yeah, so we really have from June 15th to August 31st to get the crossings done.
Yeah,
Okay.
just the HDD work.
Yeah, the rest of it is, yeah,
Right.
The rest of it can go.
right. I would encourage that we award the contract to Golden State Construction and Utility for the Highway 92 Emergency Pipeline Replacement Project.
So I would second that, but I did have one question. How many feet did we do in the first go around?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't remember. Probably 600, I think.
Yeah, if you look at
No, when we originally went through Coslino's field.
2017, we did, if you look at the map,
Yeah,
you can see this section where there's not a blue.
uh-huh.
And so
It's just that section.
it's just that section that was done in 2017.
I'm just wondering how much, we have 14, started with 14,000, we're knocking out 5665 this time. I'm just wondering what the remaining number is, that's all.
Yes, well, this one is going to be 56.
Yeah, 56,
55.
55. I think the original section was about 200 a foot. This is about 325 a foot, which is based on the inflation we're seeing. It's kind of right in there.
We have 3 stream crossings.
Yeah, no, and including stream crossings and connections, I think we're still doing really, really well here.
Yeah.
And we're-
And yes, I'm just kind of curious.
And along this whole length, remember, we're going to put in 600s.
Yeah.
Which is-
No, and so far below the engineers.
That's just great.
So
So we have sorry. you have a
Yeah,
comment?
I did second it.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Just a quick, interesting, we move forward with this, which we are at this point with the 6 fire hydrants how far east will be our last fire hydrant?
It'll still be the same fire hydrant, which is directly across from the Pillarcitos Creek Road,
Oh, okay.
right there.
It's
So,
no further up the hill or anything like that.
no, sir.
Okay. People have asked about it for the future.
I mean, that's the limit of our district.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Could we have a roll call, please?
And just for the record to clarify, it was for a total cost of $1,844,000.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I didn't read it
Right.
from that email. Thank you.
Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Mickelson,
Yes.
Director Mueller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Yes.
Good tides.
All right,
Good job after 2 years.
yeah, nice to see this moving forward.
2 years.
Mary, we're on for our discussion of the monitoring of said,
Well, we need to, yes, well, the construction inspection services.
the orange safety vest.
So we have, we are recommending that we go with Cecil and Cecil. They have done numerous projects for us in the last few years. They did the Grandview water line replacement project, the Poplar water main replacement project, our Myrtle Street valve project, and Magellan and Media Creek pipeline restoration project. So we have a lot, good experience with them. They're well liked in the field. I think we had on the Poplar project, I think the neighbors just thought the inspector was great. Very professional, they really know their stuff. And, the goal of an inspector is really to, ensure that each phase of the project is executed in compliance with design plans and specifications and regulatory requirements. So we're recommending that we move forward with Cecil and Cecil or their not to exceed amount of $351,740. Just to note, this is for 1,200 days, or 1,200 hours of work. So for this project. So
I always look at this number. We have ongoing annual projects. And the money we spend on these projects, $280 an hour for someone to sit in his truck. When we bring this in-house, this is a position. And then some.
It's kind of a liability.
Yeah, I mean, how much, we're paying dearly for it.
Insurance.
So I guess the analysis has been done that the position cost, insurance, liability insurance warrants us spending money like this on a regular basis without considering bringing it in-house.
What do I think?
I don't know.
I think
Anyway,
it's really expensive.
so do I.
But I would tell you that when we're dealing with public money in a public project, I think having, targets when things are not necessarily correct.
Oh no, shoving off liability. I totally get that. I know that's how the world works. It's what's going on in LA right now. It's like the other guy.
I remember when we built Crystal Springs. It was very expensive. It was not enough money for the contractor at the time. And by the end of the project, without some careful eyes, there were some construction realities that occurred that might have been overlooked because of the urgency and the cost overrun and those sorts of things. So I don't know, in some ways, me as an appointed official, I think it's nice to have those extra eyes. I wish it was $100 an hour, but I think those people also are buying liability coverage to make sure that they're doing the correct job. And so I'm not advocating, those are the things that go through my mind.
The two items. One is experientially, having this type of oversight has been paid off for us on a number of large projects, which have been completed in professional manner, on time, and with little if no difficulty. I think experientially that it pays for itself to have this expense, because it frees us from having to be on top of and making sure that things are going okay. And quality costs money, and that's what we're looking to do. This is a key project. This is the lifeblood of the system's network of roads. I mean, this is the heartblood of the community. You don't want anything to go wrong in doing this thing, and we want to make sure we're covered and not have to be, pensive about this all the time. I also think that, as you pointed out previously, if you add this and the other two contracts into the total, it's still less than the engineer's estimate for the total construction. So I think, all in all, it's a win-win situation for us, frankly, at this point. And I want to make sure we hold to the agreements and the contract and keep everybody's feet to the fire. So.
Yeah, I think we have to be realistic with, this is on private property, not on public streets or public access. So we want to make sure it's all done properly on private property also. That's just my feeling.
So I think that looking at this, I would actually say that my suggestion is that we move forward with this contract today for this project. But I think that Chris has brought up a really valid point, that we all agree this inspection service is 100% needed. There's no debate on that. The question that Chris brought up is, if we are mapping out what capital improvement projects we're doing each year, which we do, and I'm really proud that this district maps out at least 15 to 20 years of projected construction projects, that we do a really good job of looking forward to that. It might actually be really reasonable for us to then look at the inspection services that match with that. And Chris could be very correct that instead of paying $351,000 per project, we bring on a individual who works for us directly, and they do this service directly as an employee to us or a subcontractor to us to do this work. And so I think that's something that I would like to see the board look at. I'm not saying it'll work out, but I think that it's a reasonable request to say, hey, we know what we're going to spend on capital improvements. Why not match that with whether we could have construction inspection done as something we include in part of our cost, and maybe a fraction of what this is. So I think it's a really good suggestion, and I'd like to put it forward that the staff consider that for a report back as to whether it's feasible. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, thank you. I totally get the liability portion. But I just see us, these are repetitive costs, and anything we can do to reduce the costs around here.
Any
And
thoughts on that,
ultimately,
Mary? I
it
appreciate
keeps our rates in line.
your input.
Yeah, my only thing, and with these inspection services, there's a lot of record keeping, and which is, there's more to just somebody standing out in their truck and doing the work there. And so it is.
We get that.
It is
But if we hired a person to do that, we wouldn't pay them $351,000. And yet we've got, at least 4 projects that I know of that are rolling in the future. And I fully expect to see more of this. So all I'm asking is that we look at what the alternatives are, look at how other districts are doing it, and see if we have an opportunity to save money. And if we don't, I'm okay with that. But we do have an obligation to show the ratepayers that we are exploring ways to save money and evaluated the option. And right now, I think it's a fair request to say, what is the option?
I think we should look into that. Does the variability of the projects, the kinds of projects, the type of projects, have any reflection on the kind of inspection people that we get? Is there a standard inspector do any kind of
Well, look at the
project. I'm just
resumes.
Trying to understand.
Yeah, no,
So
so,
this is education for me.
yeah, so if you look at the qualifications for these guys, they are actually qualified to do a whole lot of this stuff. This guy's experienced in concrete.
So variability is
Yeah.
part of their
Yeah,
nature.
exactly. They're not making their living on just watching a valve go in. They've
Well,
got,
something to look into, I think.
Yeah.
But
And that's where, like, even like if you look at like a PN or tank project, there are different types of inspections, as you say, some,
yeah,
with concrete, some with, the various portions of the project.
You'll have special inspections on top of inspections.
yeah.
So there's multiple layers of inspections that go on, and rightfully so.
something to
Very
consider.
good, thank you.
Yeah, we need a motion.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
No.
We didn't, okay. We have a motion.
I would like to make a motion on this agenda item. Authorize the general manager to enter into contractual agreement with Gold. We already did that one.
No, this is Cecil.
Yeah.
Here you go, right here.
I had it right here.
Okay.
Even marked my
Okay.
highlighter. Okay, I apologize for that. There are too many papers today. Authorize the general manager to enter a professional service agreement with Cecil and Cecil Enterprises Incorporated for construction inspection services for the Highway 92 emergency pipeline replacement project for not to exceed the amount of $351,740. I so move.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Director Coverdale,
I'm confused. But I'm gonna say aye.
Director Michelson,
Aye.
Director Muller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Aye.
Aye comes in.
Been a long time coming, this project on 92. Thank you, staff, for sticking it out with us
All right,
and legal team.
Mary, you gonna do this one?
Yeah, now we have another one. So this is to approve the a professional services agreement with EKI, who will be managing the environmental services during construction and related to Highway 92. So in late 2023, the district engaged EKI to handle the permitting for the project. They teamed with ESA, Environmental Science Associates, and who handled the permitting. They successfully acquired a stream bed alteration agreement from California Department of Fish and Wildlife. This is, which was a very, very smooth process, and we're very grateful for the services. So we would, EKI has proposed to team up with ESA again for the actual field work and monitoring during construction. And they have all the information. They know all the BMPs, the best management practices. And so they are just, the most logical party to be doing this work for us. So I would encourage the board to approve this proposal.
So I'd like to authorize the general manager to enter into a professional service agreement with EKI Environmental and Water Inc. for engineering and project management services for the, I'm a little bit ahead of my time. Got it. For environmental services during construction related to the Highway 92 emergency pipeline replacement project in a not to exceed amount of $166,700. And I want to really compliment EKI because we've been doing business with them on not to exceed for a long time, and they're very respectful. So I'd just like to make that comment even before the second. General Attorney Patrick.
Need a little humor. What happened to just digging a ditch and putting a pipe in in the world? Well, our ratepayers have to understand we're doing it professionally and correct way for not now and the future.
Second. Oh, did you?
All right,
No, I will.
you're a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Michelson,
Aye.
Director Muller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman.
Yes.
Yes.
Such a.
That's why it's
Technical
question for
question.
Jonathan. Jonathan, you've had the training on the amphibian handling code of practice.
I'll be out there with the contractors, getting that training, so.
Yeah, because it says here that you're following the declining amphibian task force fieldwork code of practice for the handling of the red-legged frog. So no butter and garlic.
No way.
I get off the tractor when I see a critter in my field when I'm working it, and I catch them and say, come on, go up in the habitat and get out of my field. The only one I leave out there for the eagle, the hawks and ravens to get are gophers.
Oh.
Get the gophers.
Got some extra gophers for you. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry. Going back to the agreement for the construction of the. It said it was a project for a total cost of 1,844. Should that be not to exceed as well?
It's.
It's a bid.
I
It's
missed
a
that.
bid.
Yeah.
It's a
Is
bid.
that what that means?
Yeah, it's.
A bid is considered to be.
It's not.
Total not to be exceeded.
It's
just asking.
not to, it's both, it's actually both. It means when the project's finished, we gotta pay them that amount. But if they do it cheaper, we still gotta pay them the full amount, but they can't, but if it costs more, we don't have to pay them any more. Whereas the others.
Capped.
That's a
Yeah,
change order
That's a
process.
change.
So these are all subject, well.
Yeah.
That's one of the.
The
things we need
Jonathan's
to keep
coach
our eyes
thing.
on.
Well, that's a fixed price.
Change orders, of course, is something we don't know how to spell or respond to, so just, we're all clear on that, because we're not happy campers with those guys.
Yep.
Okay.
The improvements at the water treatment plant, wasn't it under 5%?
5%.
Yeah,
No, we understand that, you know, I agree on.
I mean, we don't like 5%, but it was,
I'm done.
you know.
Level.
Okay.
Jonathan, thank you. Jeffrey, it looks like you're up.
Nope, there's one more.
One more.
Mary, come on, one.
It's the one I tried to get approved a minute ago.
Okay,
Put them
so.
together.
We have been working on the San Vicente pipeline project. We've been, we engaged an engineer, Stetson Engineers, who came up with, developed the plan. We had also, given John's experience with the district, we, have used John to kind of provide some oversight, and what we would like to do is have John and his team look at the hydraulics of the pipe to make sure that the design works. And he's done the hydraulic modeling for the district, and so is very familiar with what we need. And in addition to that, we would like EKI to handle do the bid support and engineering services during construction. So this proposal is for not to exceed price at $82,800 for those services.
And this includes the negotiation for the extension of our water.
Well, no.
It doesn't,
But it does,
did I
but,
read that wrong?
but it will go a long way to show beneficial use of our, of San Vicente when we apply for the extension.
Which is my encouragement to, let's go.
Yeah, so.
Well, this is a step in that direction, yeah, so let's go.
So I'd like to move that we authorize general manager to enter into a professional service agreement with EKI Environmental and Water, Inc. for engineering and project management services for the San Vicente Pipeline Project, Phase A, for a not to exceed price of $82,800.
Second.
Roll call.
Okay, Director Coverdale,
Aye.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Muller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldsman,
Yeah.
President Williams.
Yes. Jeffrey, now you're queued. Your turn.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Our next report is our quarterly financial review, information only. Our results through December, the first 6 months of FY 24-25 are what we'll be talking about tonight. Start off at the top, revenue. In total, we're favorable versus budget year to date by $85,000, 1% above the budget. Within that number, though, we have a couple of items worth noting. One is we're slightly below budget in our water revenue year to date. We are making up for that and then some with our non-operating revenue. Both interest income as well as our property taxes and excess ERAF funds are above budget and more than enough to offset the modest negative variance in operating revenue from water sales. Our water sales volume is on target, so we're there. Mary and I talked about this a little bit. Look at how we're accruing for the stub period. There's no question that we're doing it properly. It's just my hope is that when we see the actual results for the billing period that'll end in mid-January, that hopefully we'll say, oh gosh, we could have accrued more. So at the end of the day, though, revenue is positive in total. Operating expenses also positive versus budget. We have savings in several accounts, including SFPUC water purchases. We're 4% below the budget in terms of volume of SFPUC year to date. And we have favorability. I think, Glenn, you had mentioned when we were going through the budget process that we needed to consider PG&E expense, given some of the things that are happening operationally, and that has proven to be very prescient. We're favorable in PG&E year to date. We had some administrative spend on a variety of things that we note in the report with our friends at Hanson Bridget and also with engineering spend. But overall, again, favorable in operating and maintenance expense. So bottom line, we're $196,000 favorable year to date. We've been better than that in the past. I know Mary and I talked about cost control and being very cognizant of that. So believe me, that's how we're operating. Cash balance through December is $12.4 million. We'll talk about that a little bit when we talk about CIP. We've listed our CIP spend by project. And as Mary and Darren and I have been talking about recently, this number is going to grow very soon and very significantly when we talk about Highway 92 kicking in, as well as the Carter Hill Tank project. So we'll start to see some outlays that will, I'm looking at you, Bob, with the factor that we will start to see.
Not to, we have 11, I talked to, Mary and I had a note on this, 11.5 against 1.5. You're gonna have to do an awful lot of stuff between now and June to do that. And so I think there's got to be some remediation on that number first.
Yeah, and we'll work on that. I adjusted a little bit for this month, but certainly there's some timing. It's timing of when we do the tank, timing on some of the Highway 92 expenses and looking at the.
And I'm just making the same plea that I always do. We got to be realistic as much as we can, and things don't go always as we plan. And this one is significantly different. I mean, if it was $5 million we spent, I wouldn't have any heartburn at all, but 1 point. You got to do a lot of stuff.
Well, the tank is on a pretty aggressive schedule, so that's really,
Yeah, we're gonna be breaking ground, demolishing tanks in the next month, so.
No, I'm
moving.
looking, spend it if you can, but I think it'll be hard. We wish you well.
I think that the other project Darren mentioned to me earlier today went Mary is the well field replacement.
Yeah.
See those, that'll be done this year. So there's some money there. as
Yeah,
well.
this calendar year
Yeah.
will be a very aggressive year.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Just a brief comment, Mr. Chair. I think now more than ever, our customer base and our community has to realize what the horrible situation is happening in our Southern California and the water world, what we are preparing for the future investments. And it costs money to invest in the future. It doesn't cost, it pays.
Well, and we got a location for the tank now. I mean, my gosh. What a step. Verizon's relocated. I mean, think about it, you know, we're inertia. You know how inertia goes? Body in motion stays in motion, so. No problem.
One additional comment if I could, when we talk about our cash balance, Mary and I are still working through the financing process. And we go to the market on Thursday. So we will see $8 million flow in to our coffers shortly.
What kind of interest rate or where are we now?
We will find out tomorrow.
Could you read?
Mary has been asking that very question.
Email that way?
Keep getting emails about the investment. They keep emailing me.
Oh, there you go.
This group is one, buy
I'm
shares in it or something, right?
Yeah.
Get off of me. Can I delete it then?
Yes, please.
Once again, it's a good financial
What
approach.
time you want to deposit?
And just in
Don't
follow up on
Is there
John.
a plus A? Is there one?
Well, they're mine. Piece of it.
Minus.
Deleted. It's gone.
Jerry, thank you. That looks good. And I think to follow up on John's comment, we definitely had significant rains here, so we are a low fire risk during this time of the tank being taken out of service and we've done our best we can to schedule this tank repair in light of our demand and seasonal use. And I think that our thoughts are with the guys down south. That we are paying attention and we're learning from what's going on for them. Jeffrey, thank you. You will. Mary, we've got a committee.
This in every January, the board looks at your committees and decides if you're going to move forward with any changes.
So just to review, so that everybody remembers what they're doing, we have 4 standing committees: finance, human resources, and facilities. The team has been functioning smoothly with that. Does anybody have any requests for changes? Whose car is being
That's
broken
mine,
into?
actually. But you know, it's gotten more sensitive. I don't know how to stop it.
Maybe a kung fu hit it.
Okay, you, all right. So we have 4 standing committees, we have 1 advisory committee, and we have the external organizations. My comment is that the team is doing a really good job, and so I don't have any need for anything to move. Bob, Ken, you okay? John,
No problem.
Chris, okay.
Thank you.
Can we put that to stand as it is? All right,
No changes, no action.
No,
well, we discussed it, isn't
Right, no,
it?
you did exactly what you did, but usually if you're gonna make some changes, the board would need to approve those changes, because that's what the board has done in the
I
past.
approve that we haven't changed
There have
it.
been no changes, so you don't react.
I vote yes.
I'm swinging yes on this.
Okay.
Part of the motion has the new advisory committee and external organization representative. That's something new.
Oh, that's new, yeah. But that,
Oh, that's the next thing.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dan.
In January, we appointed the CCWD board member representative alternates to participate in the Sunnyvale LACCO election of officers. So past practice has been to appoint name the vice president and followed by board members in order of seniority. So
Perfect, amen.
good.
Do we need a motion of this? All appointment, all right. And then we appoint Wait. All right. So we're appointing, walk me through it again.
You're appointing the vice president
Yeah,
as the CWD
yeah. Okay.
alternate.
All right, do we need a second on that?
Yes.
Okay. There's a primary and a secondary.
So
I did a
approve it.
primary,
Okay.
he's doing the secondary.
Secondary, I second that.
Yeah,
Emotion.
and then we'll randomly do yeses and ayes.
Okay. Director Coverdale,
I'm gonna follow protocol. Aye.
Director Michelson,
Yes.
Director Mueller,
Aye.
Vice President Feldman,
Yes.
President Reynolds.
Aye.
Whoa,
They haven't been on many
That's a
state
mix.
boards. You have to use the proper I.
that was a new mix.
Yeah.
This thing really.
Mr. Chair, I'd be interested in the new external organization representative
Okay,
volunteer.
all right. So accepted.
Mhm.
All right. Old pictures.
Okay, only one. On this. We don't have any pictures yet. So this is our third update. And we are actually, right now, we're still in the timeframe of the limited notice to proceed. So our contract duration hasn't started ticking yet. However, our game plan is to issue the notice to proceed on January 21st. You can move it
We
forward.
did a temporary one that
Yes.
allowed him to start the preliminary pipe con electricity and that stuff, right?
Yeah, so the bill is 25 grand.
Yeah.
So with that though, just in terms of what we've been able to accomplish, it was a very busy fall, and I really want to thank Darren for really driving some issues for us. He drove the Verizon issue and the PG&E issue. We thought we were going to have to move conduit, and we were looking at potential delays of many months in this project. We did a lot of meetings out in the field and potholing of utilities, and we found that we, after surveying and looking at things, we didn't need to relocate the PG&E utilities. And so it was confirmed we had HDR actually look at all the potholing. The one thing what we decided is that we would move the tank a few feet. And so HDR was.
You want to do that before you build it.
I do it before you build it. Yes.
It's light.
So we actually, so HDR was able to make the design changes. They've been reviewed by staff, by DN Tank, and everybody's set with those changes, and no issues. So we are, at this point in time, we're mobilizing. In fact, I think the trailer, DN Tank's trailer maybe showed up today.
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow, okay. And then we're, and Greenie will be working on the temporary piping over the next few weeks. So we're looking at, we could be demolishing tanks in early February.
Wow.
So
Pretty
it's
exciting.
so it's an exciting project. So and we I don't think there's much more here, Lisa.
Okay.
But it is something that is we're starting to move forward, and you'll see some action up there. It keeps our staff busy. I know it was even with Sean today was commenting of all the requests, and getting people familiar with what they have to do to get into our facility, and safety and various things. So it's all a good thing.
Go ahead, Ken.
And we moved it uphill, not downhill.
Actually, we moved it a little bit, I guess you'd call it a little bit.
South or north or
Southeast.
southeast.
So towards the access road, a tiny bit.
Mhm.
So
And how many feet?
4 feet approximately.
Oh, okay.
So we had to clear some shoring constraints around PG&E lines.
Yeah, but this can't be overstated, the value of getting us to this point. I mean,
This has actually moved very fast.
yeah,
I've
but,
been really
but
impressed.
dealing with PG&E and Verizon, they could have really just.
Well,
So,
right.
so
Yep.
thank you, because
They work.
we have the Philbin factor risk here, so this is important.
That's right.
Yeah, the Verizon situation was quite an undertaking, and thank you to Pat as well.
Yeah, because they operate out of an ivory tower and, they, so the fact that we even got their attention.
Yeah, but Darren actually, he arranged bi-weekly meetings with Verizon and really held them to the fire. And so their antenna, is moved, it's on a temporary couch, and so we're in really good shape. So
Awesome.
Got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
If I may, Darren, a quick question. Last night was the first time, I think in over a year, we were out of power most of the night.
Mhm.
Did our plant lose power?
No, sir.
But again, would you remind us in the community of a backup generator for emergency situations?
That's correct. The Noonan Street plant has a backup generator that automatically starts.
Thank you, because people in town here, we were all out of power.
Wow.
During the
You
night.
guys having their
That was
turn, I guess Montero. Last beach or Montero had it last week.
Oh,
Tree fell
yeah,
down
that's
on the
right,
line.
yeah.
Yeah.
We've had it
It was our
down
turn
there
last night.
yeah.
You don't think they know it?
No?
Oh, we didn't have to look at the clock to see what time to get up. The daylight, yeah, it's time to get up.
Oh,
All right.
Don't you live on daylight clock?
Yeah.
I got nothing more in my,
this we
oh,
got-
here we
no,
go,
this one-
general manager's report.
We already noted this, but we are going out for financing this week, and we received our S&P rating in December, which is a good rating at a AA minus. So we feel we're in good shape. I also wanted to just mention the Water Smart results for 2024. District staff, and it's Emma Barr handles the Water Smart alerting, and we alerted 521 customers last year of leaks. So this isn't, it's still a very ongoing program, and 40% of our customers are signed up for Water Smart.
40% of signed up.
Yeah.
And of that number, 500. And we have about 6,200 customers that are going to sell.
Yeah,
So
they're
for
not
half the
including fire.
customers, about 3,200, we have 500.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty significant.
Yeah, and most of the, we push it more with the residential customers, so this, so that number really is more on
A
the
lot of
residential.
customers.
But it's a good.
It's good.
It's good, so we continue to work that program.
Great.
So I see we conducted numerous fire flow tests with the fire department. How did that go? Did they all meet pass muster?
Yes, sir. That's an ongoing, that's ongoing, but
No, but and that is-
there was a lot.
Yeah, no, that's, obviously will be, asking that question for a reason. You turn our hydrants, they flow.
Yes.
With the operations, I don't know,
Yeah, no,
Darren,
Darren, it's time for you to tell us.
We got through most of them actually, so this should be fairly quick. Denniston, the Euro style management, which is the coders, they mobilized. The clarifiers and the quad tape were prepped and coded already. The filters are actually completed as we speak. So that went really smooth. They did a great job, real quick and clean. Couldn't be happier with them. The large tree removal for the tank project, it's all been completed, did really well on that, went very smooth. At the same time, we lost the tree during the storm here at the office, so unfortunately it had to come down, but they helped us out in that also, so it went well. Just some weeder work, obviously the fire department that Chris was just, or that Mr. Mickelson was just touched on. Pillarcitos Wells, Pillarcitos Reservoir this month. We did have a leak out in Princeton and it was on a T on a hydrant. Got that fixed up in-house. The Carter Hill Tank Project, that's kind of all been discussed. We did get Verizon to a new temporary site that will suit them throughout the construction, so that's excellent. EKI, it's been a good deal of my work, which has been the environmental permitting requirements and design for the culverts, the slides, also the wells. We have a meeting scheduled this week with a bunch of the regulatory agencies to see what all has to be done in order to get some of these things done. And then the HDR is obviously still on the San Vicente treatability study and corrosion study. And then there's some pictures of the contact clarifiers and the coax tank painted, which really good. Yeah, they did a nice job.
We were out there this morning and it was really nice.
Good. Good job.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Do we have any director's comments? Requests?
The only comment that I'll make is, I think in light of all the fires that are going on in Southern California, that it'll be really good for us to reassure our customers of the capacity and quality of our fire suppression system. You know, essentially the reason most water districts were ever formed was for fire protection. And so I think that we're in really wonderful condition. I think we've replaced a lot of hydrants. We've improved the system. You know, we proved with the Cunha fire, how many years ago was that? 10 years ago or 12 years ago? Probably now. I think we've demonstrated the fact that we have taken it very seriously. We've expended a lot of money. In fact, we're extending some work along Highway 92 to make sure that other people in our district are safe. And I think that kind of public relations is difficult because it's like one more thing. You know, you got a million things to do. But I think we should really put something out in the bills or put something in, you know, there's not a newspaper anymore, so it's more difficult. But I think, and I don't think it's a pat ourselves on the back, but I think it's a reassurance.
I really like that reassurance, and I think that the modest cost of putting out a one sheet notice sort of saying, hey, we are paying attention and we're doing everything we can to make sure that your community's safe. We appreciate, and maybe thank the customers for their support in supporting our infrastructure upgrades, and saying thanks to your supporting us on that. We've upgraded our treatment plant, can now run at full capacity. Our sources are protected, our wells are rehabilitated, our hydrants are renewed. Our team is one of the best educated team ready to respond to an emergency. I think there's real value to that because people are definitely asking me a lot of questions about how water utilities operate in fire. I think all of us as directors are getting these questions, and I think the appropriate thing to do would be to have the district respond with a reassurance.
Reassurance, we can't guarantee.
Of course,
anything.
No,
There's no 100%
guarantees.
but we can say things that reassure them that we understand all these issues and that we have taken steps to try to keep abreast and manage it. That's all you can just say, that we're on top of it. That's about the best thing to say. And here's the thing, we're paying attention.
Yeah.
And here's the things we've done to try to keep us abreast and covered in these situations. That's all, but you can't guarantee.
Yeah.
And continue to invest.
You can't make a commitment that, don't worry, it's never gonna happen, because we know that that's not.
And
No, a good idea.
this goes
Got
back.
all new hydrants on us, right? A lot of new hydrants.
Yeah.
That's all. And then the new hydrants are important.
So this is why I ran 23 years ago, was on the basis of putting in a 16-inch versus the 12-inch. We can now move water north and south without a pump. Gravity doesn't fail. Gravity is a constant. So that we have a 23-year history here of making this district as fire safe handling, to Bob's point, as possible. Nothing is 100%,
Right.
but we have done everything possible in that we can effectively move water north and south by gravity. We have emergency generators at every pump station. And we have a local station. Can you imagine you get called in LA traffic?
On the 405?
Yeah. Yeah.
Biggest parking lot in town.
Yeah.
So,
Our guys can be on the job
10 minutes.
10 minutes.
yeah, so Mary, why not put the number of hydrants we've replaced? Tell them we're upgrading our tanks. I think these are really important points, and I think that
Sort of a
I think
management summary.
Californians are really shaken by this.
Right, exactly.
It's dominated the news, and I think that this is a really good opportunity for us to reassure the public.
The
I
best,
thank you for
the
doing
best
that.
form is an email is not gonna work. 'Cause
No, let's
It's
send
gotta
them
be a flyer in
Yep.
a bill.
with a picture of a hydrant.
I don't know, think about it. You guys decide the best way to handle this.
Yeah,
But making sure that it doesn't, it's not a guarantee.
and
We gotta
let's
make
get it out
understand.
quickly, not, let's get it out while it's timely.
Or maybe
Whatever.
And
even
thank them for their support. I think that's really important. Thank them for their support.
maybe a brief presentation to mid-council and city council sometime, maybe.
Yeah, but I like the letter,
Yeah,
the
I
mailer.
think we
out
want
to
the
the public.
customers to know.
Yeah.
And that's-
Okay,
that's
this isn't
about
on the agenda. I think you give us. your general manager.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Director's agenda.
Wants to get home. All right, let's close the meeting. We'll bring the meeting to a close.
But we started at 10 a.m. this morning.
I'm a Brown Act guy.
All right. Thank you.
Recording stopped.